Hi, welcome to your second lesson of reading comprehension. This time we are going to focus on locating specific details. We'll go through these points, defining what supporting details are, what helps to locate specific details, how to find specific details in a passage, and we'll end up with an example, a question, and practice. What are supporting details? Details are statements that support a topic sentence. What do they do for the topic sentence? They explain what has come in the sentence. They give reasons. They give information about the idea that came in the topic sentence. They sometimes define a term, and they also describe something. But they are all about the main idea. They all back the main idea. They all support the main idea by providing extra information about it. What helps us locate details in a passage? Locating supporting details requires knowledge of tricky words. Some tricky words are the main, the best, not, all, except. These words are very important because they usually appear at the beginning of the question stems in exams. They are there to help students and guide them through the text and through the details spread over the text. If you just focus on the stem without paying attention to those tricky words, you might be misled and you might get the wrong answer. Locating supporting details also requires a knowledge of language. What do we mean by language? We mean the kind of sentences, compound, complex sentences. We also mean the paragraph structure. You need to be aware of the paragraph structure, and you also need to have the ability to interact with the text. What are the strategies that you can use in order to easily find and locate the details in a passage? First strategy is to scan rapidly, running your eyes over the text. First, searching for keywords or ideas associated with the questions. If you know the answer to a question should be a number, you don't need to read the whole passage to find the number. It's just a quick look and you just locate where the number is. You also need to scan rapidly your eyes through the text to flit around the text back and forth, up and down, trying to locate some specific detail. Let your brain hunt for specific information, whether it's a word, whether it's a phrase, a name, or a number. Second strategy, it's to read carefully every word and think carefully about the overall meaning of each statement in order to find the answer. Monitoring is very helpful at this stage. Why? Because this stage requires a very careful reading. It's no longer a fast reading. So careful reading should be a thoughtful reading. What's monitoring? It's to stop and think about the text and know what to do when meaning is disrupted. This pause is very important. You need to bookmark important information, specific information. To do that, you need to read, pause, and ask yourself many questions. For example, you need to ask, do I need to reread in order to understand better? What does this word mean? What can help me understand better? You can either underline the specific detail or highlight the information that you need, or just write notes in the margin while reading. A very important technique to help you remember the details spread over the text is visualizing. How can you visualize? You need to create a mental image from the text to bring the text to life. Engage your imagination and use all of the senses you have. Create simple line drawings with labels and note key concepts and ideas on a visual organizer. Organizers may vary according to the organization pattern of the text. If it is a compare and contrast text, for example, you can use a Venn diagram that shows similarities in the middle, in the intersection, and differences on both sides. If it is a process, you can make a different organizer that focuses on different steps leading to each other. One more thing to do, and that can be very, very helpful, that's summarizing. What's summarizing? Why do you need it? It's a way for you to identify and accumulate the most important ideas and restate them in your own words. Your own words are very important here because they measure the degree of understanding for yourself. How much of the message, how much of the details in the text have I grasped? What should summarizing, or what should your summary include? It should include the main idea and major supporting points. Why do you need it? In order to make sure that you have understood something. This is very reassuring for you if you do it here and then before you finish the reading. You pause at the end of the first paragraph, for example, you do your summarizing and just check for yourself, oh yeah, I've understood something. This is reassuring and it motivates you to keep reading and look for more and further details. Here's an example for summarizing. That's the text. It says, "The tall cowboy put the saddle on his horse, untied him from the fence, waved goodbye, and rode off into the sunset." A very simple summary says, the cowboy left. Where have all the other words gone? You can leave out the word tall, for example. The tall cowboy. For the summary, we don't need tall. The most important word here is the cowboy, since that's not an important fact. All of the things the cowboy did can be summarized in one word, left. What did he do? He waved goodbye. This means that he left. He untied his horse. This means that he was getting ready to leave. Inferring is probably one of the most difficult types of techniques here, but it becomes very simple when you know what it is and you know how to do it. What's inferring is actually, how do I read between the lines? So I'm obviously trying to find a detail that's not explicitly stated in the text. I need to find information in the text that might be clues to the answer and use them with background knowledge for possible answers. So inferring underlies a link with your background knowledge. Focus on the tone of the author and go for the implied meaning. Ask yourself, I wonder why, I wonder how, and I wonder if. I wonder why, looking for implied reasons for a certain detail in the passage. I wonder why the author did not mention that specific point. I wonder how you can think about the way the writer might deliver this information in a more explicit way. And I wonder if might think about alternatives, other possibilities. Here's an example. The question says, infer what the job is, using clues. That's the text. The minute you climb in, you start feeling excited. There's nothing so exciting for me, not even a jet plane. You get in and start up, and off you go. Remember, we said focus on the tone of the author. And then you've got to pay attention every minute. There's always someone doing something crazy who's likely to end up under your wheels. I sometimes think it's a miracle if I can get all the way there with no accidents. The clues here are climb in, not even a jet plane. He's comparing something to a jet plane. Get in and start up, two very important verbs. Off you go, another verb that shows his excitement about what he's doing. Under your wheels focuses on the thing he's getting off has wheels. Pay attention. We know from this that what he's doing, the kind of job he's doing, requires attention. There's the word accidents, which is a very important clue here. What he's doing has a risk of accidents. Get there is another clue that shows a movement. So what he's doing has a risk of accidents, shows some movement, has wheels, requires paying attention. It needs to start up to get in, climb in, and it is compared to a jet plane. I think he's obviously a car or a bus driver. That's the practice part. Read and find details. Now, you will have a question focusing on one specific detail, and let's see whether you can pause, read, and locate that detail. To help you, the detail is in paragraph 3, the highlighted paragraph. Now, the stem of the question says, based on information in the passage, it can be inferred that which of the following hammers is capable of generating the most power? The text is about types of hammers. The first alternative, a claw hammer, because it can be swung very fast. The second alternative, a ball-peen hammer, because it has a medium-length handle and a small head. Whereas the third alternative says a sledgehammer, because it has a long handle and a heavy head. And the last alternative, a bush hammer, because it has a long handle and a light head. The first alternative, A, although a claw hammer can be swung fast, we are not provided with information about the weight of its head. If it has a lightweight head, it cannot generate much power. This means that A is incorrect. The second alternative, which says that it is the ball-peen hammer, a ball-peen hammer has a medium-length handle and a small head, so it would be less powerful than a sledgehammer. This means that B is incorrect. C is the correct one. Why? Because in paragraph 3, the author explains that the heavier the head and the faster it is swung, the more power a hammer produces. We can understand from this sentence that the hammer that will generate the most power is the hammer with the heaviest head. That can be swung the fastest. Also, the author tells us that a longer handle means increased speed. From this we can understand that the hammer capable of generating the most power will be the one with the heaviest head and the longest handle. The long handle combined with a heavy head make the sledgehammer the most powerful hammer of the list. Therefore, D is also incorrect because the bush hammer has a long handle but a light head, so it would be less powerful than a sledgehammer. And that's it for today's lesson. I hope you can apply those strategies. They are easy to use. You just need to remember to do them. And you need to go through summarizing, through inferring, which is a bit challenging but manageable with the strategies. If you go through the strategies in detail and just bear in mind that everything is manageable and every single tiny detail in a passage can be picked up when thinking carefully and reading thoughtfully, you can manage it, you can do it, and good luck. Thank you for your attention. See you next reading lesson with another skill.